Brilliant. So hopefully you enjoyed that talk with Kate. And now we've got something really exciting to share with you.
That's the reason we got our phones out, okay?
Yeah.
Now, it's probably okay for you to get your phones out in class, should you be allowed to. The LTB.org website is live and ready for you to interact with. So at the moment, we have a scavenger hunt. Now, this is like a hunt like no other. You can actually go online, and then you click, and I'll do it in real time as well, and Charlie will as well. Click live now.
Yep.
And then the event competitions tab. And then you've got a scavenger hunt. You need to find the symbols in order for yourself to grab a £50 Amazon voucher.
Yes, and so these symbols are basically scattered all across the West of England careers page. So you need to go around, have a look, see if you can find these symbols. And most importantly, when you give your answers, tell us where you saw this symbol, otherwise your answer will be void. So that's a really important part. And so, yeah, that brings us to the end of that session. So we've got a new theme to introduce, but first of all, we're going to go on to some questions, are we not?
Yes, we are, and they're live questions at LTB 2020, so make sure you get your questions in. Very, very important for us to read your questions, and as the technical team is now going to put up a set of questions.
I've just got word that they're not going up on there. We're going to use our phones.
Oh no, okay, cool. Right, we'll use our phone.
Right, so we're just going to go back in. Sorry, we're not doing our texts, we promise. Not on Instagram. Right, so I'm just going to go in the forum here and have a look. So loads of you guys at home have actually been sending in some really great questions, and we've got a whole group of people here actually helping us, moderators helping answer these. But I just want to pick out one first of all that I thought was a really, really good question. So this was posted, "Hi, my son loves rugby. How can he pursue his passion alongside a career?" So this is actually something that will be covered in a session later on. But Megan here has responded and said that if you're interested, let's get it up.
This is real time.
This is real time. So
apologies for the delays that's going on here.
So Bristol City Robins Foundation, so I actually got to speak to Megan from Bristol City Robins. They offer a post-16 degree level program. And essentially, this is a program that can kind of like help you develop skills that you would need if you wanted to pursue a career in sports. But also, it's something that can really segue into lots of different industries. So that is something you should definitely check out if you're interested in pursuing a sport alongside a career. Gina, can you see any questions popping up?
I'm trying to look at them now in real time, but unfortunately they're not.
Let's answer this one.
Yeah.
So we've got one here.
Which is, what is the best way to get into fashion design as a career, as I want my own business? So somebody's really, really creative and really into fashion, wants to know how to. And we've got a comment back from somebody at CLF who said you can take it a university or college course, or you can look to find a suitable apprenticeship that would support this towards your career. If you're decided that you don't want to go to university, you can study fashion. There are lots of suitable courses, and you could also look at A-levels in art, textiles, etc. And also to support this this avenue into a world of work. So yeah, really good answer. Actually.
Great questions. These are really, really good questions, and just shows that you guys are really thinking about, how do you get into your career? So let's have a look. What else have we got here?
But what's
I'm
nice
scrolling.
as well, whilst you're looking,
No, go for it.
Is that, rugby, fashion, people are thinking of creative and physical activities, which really goes into, sport, leisure and nature that we'll be mentioning a little bit later on.
Yep.
But it just goes to show that actually the world's your oyster when it comes to progression routes when you leave school, and there's a lot of opportunities available to you as well.
Absolutely. So those are most of the questions and the answers that we've got in there. Do keep them coming in. If anything's on your mind and you want to speak to any of the exhibitors or any of our moderators, please just pop a question up there, and we'll of course do our best to try and get back to them or try to help you get and answer them. So do you want to introduce our next theme, because we're moving on from this hour into the next, and it's an exciting one.
It's a very, very exciting one. We have somebody by the name of Yoga Dad who's going to be showing us some moves. Do you have any great yoga tips that you can offer at the moment, Charlie?
I mean, I'm not naturally flexible.
No, let's do a stretch.
Yoga.
Right. Come on, class. We're going to do this live, okay?
This
let's
is
do a stretch.
Pre-yoga prep.
Breathe. Where we got X
What do we
marks the spot
do?
on the carpet, so we're all right.
Oh
Leg
yeah,
up.
they were doing the leg back.
Okay, so
How about the
stand-
reach
gosh.
up,
Oh, no.
breathe in.
Why did I leave this? Oh, I got it now. It's all good. I've got it. The other leg. Come on.
Amazing.
All right. Oh. No,
Oh, you're quite flexible there, aren't you?
I am a little bit. I'm a little bit flexible. Yoga Dad. He sounds like an incredible guy.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, lockdown has taught us all that it's really important that we get outside. So this next theme about being, you know, getting out in nature and leisure and doing things like yoga is a really, really important one. And also after that, you guys get to tune into a really inspiring talk that I had with George Cook from the Avon Wildlife Trust. So basically, this was my chance to just nerd out for an hour. You know, well, it wasn't quite an hour. I would have definitely have spoken for an hour if I was given the chance. But that was also, you know, a really good chat because George and I got to chat about, you know, the importance of working in environmental sort of causes, also what it's like to work for a company like that. And also just going to give you lots of practical advice on, you know, opportunities that the Avon Wildlife Trust offer and how you might pursue, you know, a career in that area. But yeah, so what have you been doing during lockdown then to keep yourself occupied?
I've been training in the park.
Yes, you did mention this earlier actually.
I did, yes.
I mean, weight training or are we talking endurance training?
Endurance.
Oh, I like it.
Like, you know, lifting up logs. Real Rocky IV stuff. If you know about the 80s films, probably your parents.
Running up the stairs.
Real, proper Rocky stuff.
Yeah.
Self-development's been key.
Yep.
You know, and obviously being out in nature is really, really helpful for your mental health, as well as obviously your own inner dialogue that may be happening. But incredible show so far. We are live. This is Like to Be 2020 with myself and Charlie. It's been a great morning so far.
Enjoy your yoga.
Hi, I'm Rob Reed. I'm also known as Yoga Dad. Now, I work for the UK Civil Service at the Department of Environment. In my spare time, I also teach yoga, and in fact, I'm a dad of twins, and today I'm in my boys, the yoga twins, bedroom, accompanied by cuddly toys and a whole bunch of children's books behind me. Now, this session focuses specifically on being seated. What we often do during the day, whether we're in classrooms, assemblies, bus journeys, at home, just think about the way in which we sit and the way in which we can kind of move and breathe and think in a way that's really beneficial to our physical and mental health and well-being. So all you need for this session is a seat, or you can even sit on the floor. I'm just using a cheap IKEA stool here, and we'll just get going in a second. So we'll start off just by edging ourselves, our bums, towards the front of the seat. Now, just to a point at which you don't fall off the front of the chair. Now really feel grounded down through the floor. Now what I mean by that is kind of lifting each of the toes up off the floor. You can't quite see my feet there, but I'm lifting all the toes up, just keeping the balls of the feet down and then slowly landing the toes one by one back down onto the floor. Really feel that connection, that energy that's kind of flowing up through the floor, and then feel that length that you're now creating already all the way up towards the ceiling and the sky that's above you. Now, interlock your fingers. And as you do so, imagine that you're interlocking fingers, you're holding hands with everybody else that's around you, whether it's other people from within your school or across other schools, across the west of England. And just imagine that you're kind of joining together for this session right now. Now place the palms, still interlocked fingers, across the heart. And as you do so, really start feeling that warmth of the palms wrapping around the heart. And also then the heart beating back through the hands and all the way along the arms and up and down through the body. Now slowly close the eyes and just take a moment. Maybe even let out a deep sigh just to kind of really feel the body sinking down into the seat. Just checking in with how you feel this morning or at this lunchtime today at the Career Inspiration Show. Just taking in maybe what you've already learnt this morning. And just reflecting upon how that makes you feel and maybe even re-energizing the body for the rest of the day ahead. Now slowly opening the eyes, nice soft gaze. We're going to take the palms back down onto the thighs just for a moment. We're going to do a short breathing exercise. So as I press the palms out, I'm going to inhale. And as I exhale, breathing out, I'm going to lower the arms down. Now, each time we do this, as we breathe out, I want us to really feel as though we're kind of letting go of any negative emotion. So we'll just try it once just by pressing the palms out. So we inhale to press out. Exhale, releasing the palms down. And really feel as though we're throwing that negative emotion down towards the floor. And we'll go in a number of different directions. We'll do it a few times just to kind of get you into the swing of it. Okay, so we'll inhale to press out. Exhale to release down. Press the palms out to either side of the room. So inhaling to press all the way out. Keep them bending in the elbows if you need it, if it feels uncomfortable at all on the arms. Exhale and release down. Now we're going to take the palms up and overhead. So pressing up as we inhale. Can't quite see the hands, but imagine my palms are reaching up towards the ceiling. And exhale, we release down, so allowing the arms just to drop down by the side. Last one, we're going to inhale to press down towards the floor. And again, exhale to release. And just shake those palms out, fingers out this time. Okay, we'll do it twice more. Inhaling, pressing the hands out in front of you. Really feeling the arms extend away. Exhaling, release the arms down by the side. Arms out at shoulder height. Inhaling to press away. Keeping that subtle bend in the elbows if you need it. Exhaling, arms down by the side. Inhaling, pressing the palms up towards the ceiling, straightening those arms out, shoulders away from the ears. Exhaling, arms down by the side and just releasing them down by your side. Inhaling to press the palms away, down towards the floor. And exhale, release and shake those fingers out. Okay, once more. Inhale, pressing away. Exhale, arms down by the side. Inhaling, arms either side at shoulder height. Exhaling, arms down by the side, shaking those fingers out. Inhaling, pressing the palms up, shoulders away from the ears. Exhaling, arms down by the side, shaking those fingers out. Inhaling, pressing down with the palms. Exhaling, releasing the fingers and just allowing any last negative emotion kind of to leave the body. Okay, so we're going to now move into some movements that will look to integrate the breath with those movements as well. So feel free to follow along, whichever shapes kind of work for you, but don't feel too pressurized by it. And if it feels like it's becoming too uncomfortable or you have any kind of sharp pains, that kind of thing, then just back out of it and pick things up at the next movement and shape that we create. Okay, so we're going to start just with some shoulder rolls. So let's just start slowly by taking the shoulders forward, up and back and down. I'm just doing that in one direction and then the other. So again, this is the kind of thing you could do sitting at a desk, in a classroom, in assemblies, on the bus, that kind of thing. Just a great way of easing any tension across the tops of the shoulders. Now we're going to bring our shoulders back into a neutral position, so nice and level. And as we inhale, we're going to shrug our shoulders up towards the ears. And exhaling, release the shoulders back down. And really feel that kind of emotion, that stress and tension just easing away from across the shoulders. Inhaling to lift the shoulders up. Exhaling back down. Once more. Inhaling, shoulders up towards the ears. And exhaling to release down. Now we're going to tilt our chin now down towards our chest and really feel the weight of the head, just allowing that stretch just to increase, intensify across the back of the neck. And we're going to lift our head back up again and we're going to look over our right shoulder. As we do so, we'll feel a stretch now on the left side of the neck. And then we look over the opposite shoulder. Feeling that stretch now along the right side of the neck. An option just to look up towards the ceiling as well. Feel that stretch along the front of the neck. And then rounding the head round, chin towards the chest in one direction a couple of times. Really feeling that stretch to all four corners of the neck. Again, where we often experience a lot of tension. When we're sitting hunched over desks, keyboards, computers, iPhones, that kind of thing. And then if you've not done so already, rotating around in the opposite direction. And really allowing the weight of the head to kind of deepen into this stretch. Okay, head back out in front again. Now I'm going to turn myself around towards the side. You still face forward. So I'm still towards the front of the seat. Again, not falling off the front of the seat. Placing the palms now nice and gently across the knees. And then we're going to lengthen out our arms. And as we gently apply that pressure to the hands, we're going to inhale and lift and look up. So chin up towards the ceiling, arching the spine. Our tailbone, so just above our bum, pointing backwards. Chest forward between the upper arms. As we exhale, we're going to lean back, round our spine, tuck our chin in towards the chest, extend our arms out, And now our tailbone, so just above our bum, just tucking down towards the seat, okay? Do that a few more times. Inhaling, lift and look up. Keeping those elbows tucked in nice and close to the ribs will really maximise that space that we've got for the breath and across the chest. And then exhaling back. You can just see that the power of the breath when we integrate it with the movement, how much space it creates. And again, we often find that our spine, our back is kind of in a fixed position for quite extended periods during the day. So this is a great way just to create some more space all the way along the full length of the spine, from the base of the neck down towards the lower back. Okay, one more just because it feels so good. And then back up. Now, bring myself back round towards the front. We're going to take cactus arms. So fingers pointing up towards the ceiling, elbows bent, tops of the arms just around shoulder height. We're going to start lifting one arm up towards the ceiling. Almost imagine we're plucking an apple out of a tree. Again, you can't see my hands, but just imagine where they're going. Up towards the ceiling and feeling that stretch now all the way along the side of the arms. Okay. Inhaling as you lower, exhaling as you lift, and really breathing into that space that you're creating all the way along the side of the body, all the way down towards the hips. And just going as quickly or as slowly as works for you. And like I said, almost imagine that we're kind of picking apples out of a tree. Maybe not so many up there at this time of year. And then back down again. So arms back in a neutral position again. Now taking the arms down by the side, we're going to now lift our arms out in front, so thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Inhaling, lifting the arms up and overhead. And we're going to exhale and rotate around towards the right hand side. And as we do so, we're going to lower our arms down, so that front arm, that left arm is across the outside of the right leg. And that back hand, this right hand here, is around the back of the chair. If you haven't got a chair that you can kind of hold on to, feel free to just use a belt strap, that kind of thing, just to loop onto. Now we're going to inhale and lengthen and lift the body up. And as we exhale, we're going to turn around towards the side. So what you'll find is the hips are facing forward, the knees facing forward, the chest and the shoulders out towards the side of the room. Option to keep the head in the same direction as the chest, or look over your back shoulder. Great way of kind of introducing some lateral movement, some side movement here for the spine. And also a great way to kind of aid digestion. So if you've just had a big lunch at the Career Inspiration Show, this is a great way to kind of support that digestive system in your body. Now we're going to inhale, bring ourselves back around to the front, arms back up and overhead, shoulders away from the ears, and we're going to twist around to the opposite direction. So now we've got the right hand across the outside of the left thigh, and that back hand around the back of the seat, belt strap, that kind of thing. And again, option to keep the head in the same direction as the chest, or look over that back shoulder all of the time, lengthening each time you inhale, breathe in, and exhaling as you rotate around and deepen into that lateral movement, that side movement for the spine again on the other side. Now bring yourself back round to the front again, arms back up and overhead. Exhaling, bringing the hands back down onto the knees. Now I'm going to take my feet just that little bit wider than the hips now, knees wider than the hips as well. And we're going to interlock our fingers just like we did at the start. Now we're going to start rotating around. So we're going to use our upper body weight just to sink down to the hips. Again, another area when we're sitting for extended periods, as we often are at school, where we store a lot of tension in the body. So just by using our whole upper body weight this time, and almost imagine we're kind of stirring maybe a pot of soup that we've had for lunch, or porridge for breakfast, that type of thing. We're just deepening into and inviting more space in the body. So just go as quickly or as slowly as works well to you, and keeping it either shallow if you want to keep those stirs really short and shallow, or deeper if you really want to sink into that space that you're creating across the hips. And one more on either side, if you've not turned in the opposite direction already. Back round to the front, and then bringing the feet back in again. Now I'm just going to turn myself around to the side just for a moment again. Again, you just stay facing forward, so still towards the front of the seat. I'm going to keep my hands now on either side of the seat. I'm going to lift my right leg up. So the leg is at the same height as the hips. I'll land down that right heel onto the floor. So extending that right leg away, keeping the left knee bent. Inhaling, lifting the arms up. Exhaling as I fold forward, so allowing like the upper body to hinge forward across the hips. landing the left arm across the left thigh, and then that right hand reaches out all the way down towards the right toes. Now don't worry too much if you can't get all the way down towards the toes. Just land the hand anywhere along the leg that feels good to you. Most important thing is maximising, so still maintaining that space across the chest, length all the way along the spine, and just really feeling that intensification of the stretch all the way along from the right heel all the way up towards the right hip. Okay? Now slowly lifting yourself back up again, bringing the right foot in alongside the left, hands back across the sides of the chair, left leg up this time, landing that left foot down towards the floor, so left heel now down towards the floor. Inhale, lifting the arms up, shoulders away from the ears, exhaling to fold forward, right arm across the right thigh this time, left fingers reaching out towards the left toes. And again, each side might feel quite different, so don't force it at all. If it starts feeling really uncomfortable along the back of the left leg, then just taking that hand that little bit higher up the leg towards the knee. Key thing again, maintaining that space across the chest, length along the spine, and just breathing into that space that you're creating all the way along the back of the left leg this time. And slowly lifting yourself back up again, bringing yourself back round. Well, I'll bring myself back round towards the front. Okay, and we're just going to finish it there. So we'll just bring our hands back across the knees again, closing our eyes, and in fact let's interlock our fingers as we did at the start of the session, and just bringing our hands back across the heart again. So again, we might feel the heartbeat is just, or heart is beating that little bit faster than it was at the beginning of the class. We might feel that little bit more warmth, the palms wrapping around the heart. Just really feeling that feedback of the warmth through the palms to the heart beating back through the palms, all the way along the arms, along the body, from head to toe. And just seeing how you feel now compared to the start of the session, just 15 minutes ago. Just bringing some attention to the breath, just slowing and steadying the breath. One final time. And then slowly opening the eyes, nice soft gaze. And there we go. Thanks for joining me for this session. I will be back with another one very soon.
Welcome back, team, to another session. This one's for any wildlife fans out there. So I am joined by George, who's the Communications and Engagement Officer from the Avon Wildlife Trust here in Bristol. And this session, we're just going to be talking all about the opportunities that the Avon Wildlife Trust can offer, and also discuss what it's like to work in the wildlife world. So, George, how are you?
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, all going well. How are you?
Joining? Yes, I'm not too bad, thank you very much. Nearly the weekend,
Brilliant.
so woohoo!
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about yourself, George? What do you do at the Avon Wildlife Trust, and also what does the Avon Wildlife Trust do?
Yeah. My name's George, and I work for Avon Wildlife Trust, which is part of the Wildlife Trust movement, which is like a nationwide movement. But Avon Wildlife Trust is one of 46 like local independent wildlife trusts. So we're based here in Bristol. Protect wildlife and nature and give it the space it needs to recover on a grand scale. So we do that by managing land for nature. So we've got over 30 nature reserves all over the region. So we're actually providing the habitats for wildlife to recover.
Yep.
Quite often when people hear about the Wildlife Trust, they expect us to be looking after individual animals. So when I go visit schools and things, they expect me to bring hedgehogs and badgers with me, which we don't do. We don't look after the individual animals, but we do look after their habitats and their homes. So we look after land. We also do work educating people, making sure people understand the value that nature and wildlife has in our lives. And that's the work that I do. So I'm in the learning team. So I do a lot of work with young people and communities and family events, things like that, helping people learn about nature and why it's important. And as a charity now, we also do a lot more work on campaigning, so making sure that nature and wildlife is considered in all, I guess, political and economic and planning processes, that people make sure that wildlife is being protected on that level. So that's the charity I work for, and like I said, I'm in the learning team, so I do a lot of talking about nature, telling people why it's cool and fascinating and things like that.
So does that entail quite a lot of work on social media?
Yeah, that's part of it as well. So I do the comms for the education work. So whenever we do an event working with teenagers or school groups, we tend to shout about that online as well, making sure that message that we're telling the young people, or the good work that young people are doing to protect wildlife, that gets spread far and wide as well. So social media is a big tool nowadays when we're trying to talk about these big issues such as the loss of biodiversity or climate change. These are problems that everyone needs to be involved with. So social media is a really good tool for getting that message out there and getting people involved as well.
Yeah. I think you're a great example of just, you know, there are so many different avenues that you can follow if you want to work with wildlife. You know, working for an organisation like the Avon Wildlife Trust, you've got lots of different teams. You've got the communicators, you've got the scientists, you've got the education team. You've got all of these different people that have lots of different skills, but ultimately you're all working together to sort of protect wildlife, even if it is not directly every day, you know, handling animals and physically looking after them. You're still protecting them, but, you know, from that distance. It's awesome. And so what does a day in your life look like at work?
Obviously it's looking pretty different than it normally does now. I'll forget the coronavirus thing and tell you what a day looked like in February. So my project is quite good. It's quite flexible, that we get to basically tend to whatever needs certain schools or youth groups want us to do, really. So we reach out to schools, or like I said, youth providers, and our aim as our project is trying to just get young people outside and learning about nature and giving them the skills and the experience they need to help them get jobs when they leave college or school, whether that's going into the conservation and environmental sector or just whatever job they want to go into, they go into it with a green mindset. Because we often talk about the green jobs or the environment sector, but it's really important that every job is a green job. Like I said, everyone needs to be involved with it. So it's important that everyone, whatever they're doing, is thinking green as they do it. So I guess an average day would be either we're doing a session, and that could be going to their school and doing work on their school grounds. So we do a lot of work improving school grounds for wildlife, which could be tiny little things, bird feeders, bug hotels, planting hedgerows, or building a pond if they're feeling ambitious. Because school grounds are really important, because some young people, they might not have a garden, they might not live close to a park or a nature reserve, so school might be the only place they get to see nature. So it's important that we can improve those areas for wildlife as well, making sure that everyone can experience wildlife and nice green spaces when they're at school. So we might be doing a project like that. We also, if it's the school holidays, a day might involve like our young volunteer program, where we take a group of young naturalists out to nature reserves, again, maybe doing some ID skills, some survey work, or practical conservation. So doing that work to make sure those nature reserves are the best quality habitat they can be for nature and for people to enjoy as well. So that'd be an average day, if not a few emails, things like that.
Great.
In some blogs.
A lot of time outside, which sounds nice. And that's great that you spend so much time actually going to schools and sort of, you know, reaching out to them. But what about, so what opportunities are there for any budding environmentalists out there that might want to get involved in the work? You know, are there volunteering opportunities?
Yeah, we have quite a lot of opportunities for young people to get involved. The one I mentioned just now is the Young Volunteer Programme, which is for people over the age of 14. We run it during the school holidays and on occasional weekends, and it's a chance for young people to come out with us and basically see what it's like a day in the life of working for the environmental movement. And it can be quite broad ranging stuff. So in the summer, we did a wide range of things. We started building a wormery. We did some practical conservation work, some ID skills. We even went badger watching and did a bat walk at one of our nature reserves as well. So it's a really good way of coming together, meeting other young people, learning new skills, and visiting some nice nature reserves as well.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. And yeah, if you're interested, you can go on our website or email us and we can add you to our mailing list. We also have a youth forum as well. So if you're particularly interested in talking about these issues and you want to help lead where the trust goes and what action we take, we have a group of young people that we meet regularly to talk about what they're interested in and how their opinions can help shape what the trust is up to. So that's another really good way in as well.
Yeah.
And we do special training for different things with the youth forum. If you're in year 10 and 11 and you're about to do your work experience as well, we offer work experience placements. So that's a bit like the young volunteering, but a whole week. So you'll come out with us and we'll try and show you as many different jobs within the charity as possible. And again, lots of outdoor time, lots of nature reserves.
Yes, brilliant.
Skills and things like that.
Great opportunity. If you can get a work placement in an organisation like this, I think it's always invaluable, because especially if students are then going on and wanting to maybe pursue, zoology or something at university, this is a great thing to put on your personal statement. If you've done work experience,
yes, definitely.
It's a great thing that you can say, well, I have this interest, I've pursued this, and that's why I'm interested in now going on and doing that. Yeah,
I think anything that can show that you're interested in these things and you're serious about it is going to be really useful for universities or future employers, whether that's volunteering or blogging or doing work in your own garden. Anything that can show that you've got that passion is really useful.
Yeah. And so, because, we both work in the environmental sector, it can be quite difficult to sort of pave a way in it, and especially because a lot of the skills I feel aren't taught at school. The skills that I think are most valuable for sort of working in our field are learned through, these volunteering opportunities that you're offering. What skills and attributes do you think are the most important things that students or young people need to have to sort of, go into our world?
Yeah, it's a good question. And like I said, volunteering is always one of those things that it's like the one piece of advice that everyone always says, if you want to get into this work, do volunteering, because it's a great way to learn those skills. But I always think that volunteering is quite, it's not for everyone, it's quite hard. You obviously have to be able to give up a certain amount of time and not get paid for it. So if you're a carer or you don't have ways of getting to these places, volunteering isn't for everyone. And so it can be hard to get those skills you need if you can't volunteer. But there are certain skills I think that you can develop in other areas. So if you want to get into communications or education, then public speaking and the ability to talk to people and hear what people say and be able to write that down or pass that information on. So all those communication skills are really useful if you're going to get into education work or engagement work as well. So we have fundraisers as well, people that might chat to people out on nature reserves. So those communication skills are really important, and I think you could develop those in school in other ways, through drama maybe, or debate society. I don't know, whatever is available. I think, like I said earlier, just showing that you've got that passion for wildlife is really important as well. So that could be through photography, through blogging, through doing your own action. And there's loads of information on our website about different campaigns you can get involved with. So if you can get involved with those and show that you've got that interest, that's really important.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And, something that I personally utilize is social media. That's kind of my portfolio for showing prospective employers, if I'm going for communications roles, it's, I can do this. Look, here's an example of it. And so the beauty of social media as well is that you can reach so many people and actually do quite a lot of good with it. I'm preaching to the crowd here, George, because you use social media to do the same thing.
Yeah, I do, and I'm fairly new to that. I've been I hadn't done it for when I was going for this job and everything, but now, like, I'm into wildlife, I'm into photography. It made sense to, like you said, it can be a portfolio, a way of just showing that to employers and people, sharing that information. And like you said, it's just a fantastic tool for reaching people that you might not have to access before, which is really important when you're talking about campaigns or projects you want people to get involved with.
Yeah. And so a couple of other questions. Do you think that youngsters need to go to university to sort of work in the environmental sector? Like, did you go to uni?
I did go to uni, yeah. I studied biology at university. So I think historically people would have gone to university to get into the environmental movement, but I don't think that's the case anymore, because there's definitely a push to try and get people from a wider variety of people into the sector from different backgrounds and different communities. And at Avon Wildlife Trust, we have traineeship programs that are offered to people that haven't been to university as like a stepping stone into the sector. That's called our Wild Paths traineeship. And we get a few of those trainees each year. So that could be another way in.
Yeah.
And again, if university isn't for you, and you can spend some time volunteering, again, that's another stepping stone into an organisation. If you've volunteered with them before and they get to know you and they know you're a nice person, you can do these tasks. That is just as valuable, I think, as going to university.
Yeah.
Obviously, university is useful for learning things and developing other skills, but you can get those through volunteering or traineeships or other paths.
No, that's good to hear, because I think, like you say, university, at least for, I think, our generation, was the set path. You go to uni and that's a necessary sort of requirement of getting into this field. But it's so nice to hear that you've got a different way for, people that don't necessarily want to go and do that. Uni isn't for everyone.
No.
And also the amount of debt that you can get from going to uni these days is quite substantial. So, you mentioned at the beginning, George, that all jobs are green jobs, which I think is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to sort of like look at everything that, we do in the world, that everything has an impact on the environment. But why do you think that kids or youngsters, young people should go for a career in the environmental movement? Like, why do it?
It's a good question. I think there are lots of reasons to do it. I think for me, I like being outdoors. And so the idea of having a job where I could only go outdoors on the weekend, that doesn't appeal for me. If I can have a job where I can be outdoors as much as possible, that's a big bonus for me. This is a job you can be outdoors. Also, I think it's a sector that is really important. And I think it's just as important as making money is to have a job that you think is valuable. So you're going to work each day being like, this is important. I feel like I should be doing this. And I do think that when you look at the problems facing the world at the moment, the climate crisis, the loss of wildlife across the planet, working towards these causes is really valuable. So I think that's another reason to do it. That sense of pride that you can have in your work is really important. It's also a job that there's so much to learn about wildlife and nature. You're never gonna be able to ID every single species of bird. You're not going to be able to learn every aspect of climate change. So it's a job where you can learn all the time, and I think that's really important for me as well. I like to learn, like to find out new things. So the environmental sector definitely offers that. You get to meet a wide range of interesting people. You get to do varied tasks. Like the environmental sector covers so many different jobs within it. And also there's a big push now showing how important it is to be outdoors for your well-being as well. So if you can get a job that lets you go outside, lets you stay physically active and enjoy the benefits of nature that it has on your mental health, such as lowering your blood pressure, improving your anxiety, reducing your stress. I think those are all big reasons to get into the environmental sector if you can.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You know, I wouldn't want to do anything else. You know, the feeling of like I contribute to, you know, protecting or safeguarding our planet every day, or doing something that's of benefit to it is, you know, a wonderful feeling. And so, especially if you're somebody who's passionate about, you know, our natural world, then this, you know, you won't feel like you're working. Like personally, I don't work a day in my life doing what I love. And, you know, but one thing people always say is that the environmental sector is not well paid. But like, you know, I'm not asking you to disclose how much money you earn, but, you know, can you make good money, you know, working for the Wildlife Trust?
Yeah, it's one of those things that people say, oh, you're not gonna be a millionaire if you work in the environmental movement. And I mean, I work for a charity, so I don't think anyone works for any charity, no matter what sector it's in, is making mega bucks. That's not the goal of the charitable part of the economy. But you can make good money on it. I enjoy my lifestyle with the money I make from the job I'm in at the moment, and I'm still lower down the ladder. I've got many steps I can climb, and just like any organization, there's different levels of management all the way up to directors and CEO, and they will all have a pay rise all the way up, so you can make good money from it. But like what I said earlier, I think there's more important things to think about when you choose a job than the money that you make. So you're going to be working for a long time, unfortunately, so you might as well pick something that's fun and you care about, and also gives you a bit of money as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, because it's a conversation I regularly have with people that, you know, I know people that have left the environmental movement because they're like, oh, there's no money in it, there's no money in it. But the thing is that, you know, if you love what you do every day, you know, you don't need lots of surplus money to go and escape to another part of the world, or to spend on all of these activities to keep yourself happy. You know, it's, I think it's a catch-22 that a lot of people, unfortunately, live to work rather than work to live. Or am I getting that right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just sayings all the time. I should just stop. But yeah, I guess one thing that I want to touch on though is that I've experienced it's very competitive. You know, there is a lot of competition, and I suppose you know, what we want for young people is to come away from this and sort of have some idea of, you know, how they can make themselves stand out. So, you know, what makes somebody stand out as an applicant, or what do you think are the things that can improve your chances of getting a job in the environmental movement?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and they can be competitive jobs, especially trying to get in on like your first job. I think is pretty difficult. I did a lot of volunteering, so I did an internship with the RSPB back in Birmingham, and I think that was really useful for me, and I had to work alongside that as well. And that was the advice that I got: if you want to stand out, do some volunteering and show that you've got that passion. So that is the one piece of advice that everyone always says. But I think you can stand out in other ways that we've already touched on. Some of the things, just showing that you have got that interest, and if that is a social media page or a blog or a website that can show off what you're up to, is really useful. I think, like I said, having the confidence in the interviews as well is just like really important, especially if you're going for an engagement job or communications job. They do want to see that you've got that charisma, that drive to do it. So I think that's really important, and I guess you can show that on the interview by having those skills, and in applications is just having that ability to sell yourself and talk about what you've been up to, and I think that's really important as well.
No, I think it's great. Yeah, you've touched on everything that I would also advise youngsters. Also, something I have done is, I think in the environmental sector, if there's somebody that you really admire as well and that you want to try and get involved in their work, I've often found that just sending them an email, people are quite often very, open to passionate youngsters, actually saying, hey, is there any opportunity for me to sort of shadow your work, or get, for you to mentor me, or for you to give me some advice. Obviously, make sure you tell your parents that you're getting in touch with people. We need to make sure it's, all safe and everything. But at the same time, don't be afraid to reach out to people, and start up a conversation. Social media is a great way to find like-minded people and sort of build those connections. And so, George, I mean, you've covered so many things that I think I already know the answer to this. What's the favorite part of your job? Like, what do you love most about what you do?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it can change. Like, I think I do enjoy being out with young people and sharing an experience or a wildlife encounter with other people. I mean, for me, that's what I like to do on the weekends. I like to go out and see wildlife or go bird watching or something. So then that gives me a lot of joy if I spot something, and that is shared when you're with other people. If you can like share that moment of joy, and to be able to give that experience to a group of young people, I think is really rewarding, seeing everyone enjoy it. So in the summer when we went badger watching, we were all down this hill for about half an hour in the dark waiting for these badgers, and I was getting really worried. I was like, oh no, they're not going to come out, and they're all hating it. And then these 3 badgers come out of the badger set, and they were roaming around on the hill in front of us. And for a lot of these teenagers, they hadn't seen a live badger before. Wow. And we watched them for about 15 minutes. And then when we walked back to the car park, everyone's really enjoying about it, and they're all smiling and they're chatting about it. And we're all, and I think a moment like that is just like really nice. And the fact I get to do that as a job, I think I'm very grateful for that. And I'm aware that it's a very lucky thing that I am able to do.
No, it's wonderful. Yeah, no, that's such a lovely moment that you shared with those youngsters, and also that you got to give them a completely new experience. And I think, I mean, the Avon Wildlife Trust, you're based in the city, and there's loads of wildlife around here that lots of people don't see. So it's just so wonderful that you've had that chance to give those young people that experience. Can I come next time? I would love badgers. Yeah. Let's go badger watching.
Let's do it.
Thank you, George, so much for joining me. It's been really, really
no
great
problem.
to chat. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.